Well, Peter Seabrook's on the road again for the Victory Garden, and here's his latest report.
When you're on an assignment for the Victory Garden, there's no telling where the job will take you. At the moment, we're in a sturdy tram car supported by a thin steel cable on the side of Victoria Peak, 27 degrees to the horizontal. And our Chinese conductor seems to defy gravity. And those are skyscrapers. In reality, they that are vertical, we're at an angle. Nonetheless, I'm told that when we get to the top, the views are spectacular. My, what a view. Oh. Yeah. This place they call Hong Kong. A tiny scrap of mountainous land perched on the side of the harbour. Most of the financial and commercial business goes on down there, and the government too. And because flat land is so short, the buildings just go up and up and up. But if building up is one strategy for land for Hong Kong, another and older order is making full use of the waterfront, the shoreline, and the water itself. Come on. Siu Fan has spent all her life on the water here, but it's a fairly easy job, just boating us tourists around the harbour. Imagine what it's like to actually live on one of these relics. Although if you look closer, the plumbing might be non-existent, but there is television sets and the odd telephone, pets, and even a house plant or two. Oh, look, there's a sampan selling noodles. So if you don't want to cook tonight, you can even call them in and deliver your hot, fresh cooked food. And if you don't want to cook and you don't want the noodle man to call, you can go out. Take the boat down to the floating restaurant. That looks like quite an experience. But the colour of it. Imagine that all lit up at night. Perhaps you've noticed not all the boats tied up stay here. They're fishing boats. And the fishermen set off weeks, if not months, on end to bring back that rich harvest from the sea that the 5.5 million residents of Hong Kong depend on. But given the price of real estate, the most elusive harvests are from the tiny vegetable farms. And you find those in what they call the new territories, the other side of the harbour. But you don't take one of these sampans. What we need is what they call the Star Ferry. The Star Ferry is really several boats that carry people from Hong Kong to Kowloon. It's the kind of non-polluting public transport that every city should have. For just 10 cents American, 70 cents Hong Kong money, you get these marvellous views of the city. It runs on time all day long, and it's the favourite way to get from one side to the other. Driver, is this the bus for Lok Ma Yao? Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, what a language. The new territories lie to the north of Hong Kong. They're much less densely populated, although new building continues in satellite towns even today. I say even, because you must remember in the year 1997, the lease on all land here runs out and reverts from British rule to that of Red China. And that's got some people here worried. They wonder what's going to happen to the free enterprise and entrepreneurial spirit that's developed here for over a century when the communists take it all back. Thank you, driver. Lok Ma Yao, or whatever they call it. Translated, it means the lookout. It's where the tourists come to look across to the Chinese border. They won't need that much longer, but we'll have a quick look. It's a pretty cold, grey sort of day, and I suppose the right atmosphere when you peer down to the fence on the border with the barbed wire on the top, and then across into mainland China, those ponds, I suppose some little Chinese town. For those of us that live in freedom, it's a rather chilling sort of thought. Think what happens when the border comes down. But that's enough of the politics. I promised you some vegetable growing. I'm told you need a good, strong pair of rubber boots and also a rather special hat. Now, don't laugh. You need one of these to keep the flies off, I tell you. $20.
25.
20.
Hong Kong. One more white dollar.
What? $1 more?
One more white.
One more than enough?
One more white dollar.
One more. I don't think I'm going to need my hat. I think it's too cold today for flies. The big black pipe that I'm told brings in fresh water from mainland China to Hong Kong City. They've got reservoirs, but that is almost the lifeline of fresh water. But for the vegetable growing, it's a different story. If you look at the concrete gully, that comes from a local river. And it is water from that main channel that feeds all these secondary channels and raised beds with quite a variety of leafy vegetables. I think that's Chu Sam there. Although, to be quite honest, my knowledge of Chinese vegetables is going to be more than a little stretched here today. But if I can come back to that river water, I don't know quite what kind of river it is, because wherever it flows, it has the most evil-looking, grey, greeny sort of slime. And it's a good job it's not smelly television, I'll tell you, because you just need a peg. But across here, you get some better idea of the scale of the operation. There would be about 30 acres, I should think, at least, stretching through this little patch, but not farmed by one person. There are scores of families whose living come from here and have done for year after year after year, centuries after centuries. All handwork, all very closely planted, not a weed to be seen, and some pretty funny sort of soil too. It's a sort of thin, sandy sort of silt. And already somebody's been scattering some fertilizer down. Looks pretty organic to me. And this water, oh, look, there's the flies. But the farmers have got to be standing here, hand watering, scooping that water up, and every now and again a little dam is built to hold the water there. But let's see if we can find some more crops. Well, they may have been growing the vegetables for centuries, but I don't see very much wrong with this patch of lettuce. They all look so healthy. Hardly a miss anywhere. And you can follow the stages right the way through. There's a bit of dark-leaved spinach, and then the curly-leaved lettuce there ready to cut. Some cut today.